Welcome to the Heartlifter Way. I'm Janelle Reardon, and this is a gentle space for emotionally weary women to breathe, heal, and carry life differently. Here on the Heartlifter Way, we walk the gentle path, grounded in what is real, expressing emotions with self-compassion, nourishing our nervous systems, trusting in God's daily presence and care, listening to our body's quiet wisdom, and embracing micro movements forward in hope. Today's conversation feels especially meaningful because we're talking about something so many mothers quietly carry: the exhaustion, the tenderness, the overwhelm, and the deep love that comes with parenting strong-willed, deeply feeling children. If you've ever wondered, why does parenting this child feel so intense? Or maybe, am I failing because the usual parenting advice isn't working? I think today's episode is going to help all of us take a deep, mothering exhale. I'm joined by Mary Van Geffen, parenting coach and author of Parenting a Spicy One, a compassionate guide for raising a deep feeling and wonderfully strong-willed kid. Mary describes spicy ones as children who are deeply feeling, wonderfully strong-willed, and loyal to their own soul, not necessarily our agenda. And honestly, I know so many mothers are going to feel seen by this conversation. What I especially love about Mary's work is that she doesn't just talk about changing our children. She talks about changing the atmosphere around them. I'm going to repeat that. Mary doesn't just talk about changing our children. She talks about changing the atmosphere around them. And if you have been with me on today's Heart Lift with Janelle, you know how critically, how strong, how passionate I am about that. About changing that atmosphere around our children and in the hallways of our home. It's about staying calm, kind, and firm, about choosing connection over control, and about learning how parenting often reveals the places within ourselves that also need tenderness and healing. Yes, that gentle path that we are beginning on here on the Heartlifter Way. So let's settle in and welcome Mary Van Geffen to the show. Okay, Heartlifter, here we are. I have been waiting for this time with Mary Van Geffen, author of Parenting a Spicy One. I have told you all about her. I don't want to waste one valuable second. And we were just really having great conversations before. And Mary's like, why are you not recording this?
I did yell at her.
You did. I love it. Welcome. Welcome, Mary. Thank you for your time. Wow.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here to talk to somebody who's actually dealing with spicy ones and is a spicy one, I think.
Oh, I am a suppressed spicy one. And that is how I ended up in AFib. So, the suppression, the oppression of too muchness, too much, come on, so much drama tea. My brother would be like, so much drama tea, and I'm like, but I have come to realize since my Heartlifters know my journey, I've really shared a little bit about ending up in AFib and in the ER in an ambulance, which just threw me for one spectacular loop. And I have had to address some of the major issues that you are bringing to the table, even in your book. So that is why I have almost everything underlined. And I just had to say, stop, Janelle. You only have 45 minutes to 50 minutes with this precious, spicy woman. So you have a huge platform that you write about it. So there's so much in the book that I'm just going to leave in the book because like I said, you're very valuable to me. And I know that you're going to be valuable to my listeners and my readers. And so what led you in a condensed version, you have the whole story, but to address spicy ones, and where did that come from? I'm so curious. When I saw it, my older daughter, actually parent of a spicy one, said, "Mom, this book," and I was like, "Oh my God, wow! I want to talk to her. I can't believe I got you on the show." So I'm just so excited. So where did the spicy one come from?
Well, the term or the way of being,
The
right?
way of being, the term, all of it.
Well, the term, the first time I remember back before COVID, Jen Hatmaker did a quick little post about how some families are sweet and they do all the sweet things you're supposed to do, and some families are spicy. And I think
Ah,
that got me thinking. And then I started thinking about how hard my parenting journey was and how so much of the gentle parenting or the just do this advice just did not work on this
mm-mm.
vibrant mini CEO that I was raising. And then I reflected on the fact that it didn't work for my mom either on me. And that she will say, she just said it. I was just visiting her in South Carolina.
Mm.
And she said, maybe I wasn't I guess I wasn't the mom. I wasn't as good as a mom as I could have been. I watch your
Oh,
kids calling you now and wanting to talk to you. And I wish that I had known now what I know then. And it was about
yes.
to be a real sweet moment. She said, but you were a real pain in the ass to raise. So she's a spicy one who's a little on the unhealed side. I'm a spicy
Oh, I
one.
think I want to interview your mom.
Oh, she's
Because
amazing.
we're about the same age, probably, because I have said those exact words to my
Yeah.
own adult children. I just want to take a pause here because I think we all, as mamas, maybe we haven't actually said you're a pain in the bazooka. I'm not sure repressed Janelle, would have ever had the courage to really say that, even though I was feeling it. But we have all said, maybe I wasn't as good as a mama as I could have been. There is that shaming language, right? And here on The Gentler Way, we're trying to reframe and heal. And I just love that Mary is helping us to do that today.
And I don't know why we say it because I have wanted to say those things to my spicy one, who she's 21. She's the first to get a job among her peers. She's the president of this. She will get stuff done, but she will let you know when you have disappointed her.
Ooh.
And we still have these calls that she'll call me from college, and I want them to go a certain way. I've always wanted us to be the type of mom and
Mm.
daughter that like wear matching floral outfits and
Oh,
can't get
Mary.
enough of each other. But there will always be a little bit of a friction, a little bit of a
Mm.
disdain that she has for me that she may be picking up and mirroring back the
Wow.
ways that I see her. And so I am so proud of the healing that has happened because
Mm.
I adore her. She adores me. But I
Mm-hmm.
think each generation perfects on the loving of the one before.
You
And
write
my
that.
mom used to, yeah, my mom used to say, you and I are like oil and water. And I was like, no, we're not. We're both
Ah.
vinegar. And it does no good to keep telling somebody that they are separate from you and they are troubling like we have to
And
go
you
find
are.
a fellow adult or a friend. Look at me, I'm working out my mother-daughter trauma.
Please
Don't
do.
mind
I
me.
love it. This is a family systems is my gig, and I've recently retired, but I will come back to work for you. So each
Yeah.
generation, you put the dedication itself, I just I can't get beyond each generation refining the art of love. If you would allow me to go back to you saying there's a certain disdain I'm a word detective. And I would love to know what you mean by that. I think that would be very helpful. We are in a serious culture of estrangement and cancel and all of the above. We're not here to focus on that, but I think it's important. And so a lot of my heart lifters are now grandparents or at like your stage, 21, 22, empty nesting for the first time or what, we're just all on this grand journey. And to me, I want to help everyone mother for the ages to be, I just think a mother rules the world. I think
Mm.
that we do. And so when you have a spicy one, if you would let us have a peek behind, you do not have to, Mary Van Geffen.
I love to talk stuff on my family. Let's do it.
I love they're giving you permission to do it because I'm not sure I can.
When I say disdain,
Mm,
the spicy one, and every time my father said last week, like, I can't tell if you're talking, I was reading some of your stuff, and I can't tell if you're talking about you or your daughter or your mom. And I said, exactly,
exactly.
exactly. It's a type of person that you can't quite turn off. It's not a choice. It's
No.
about a temperament that is highly persistent if
Hmm.
they want the thing. It's
Hmm.
inflexible, but able to, just create things that others can't because they don't give up when they care about it. They're highly intense. And with
Yeah.
that, a high sensitivity to shame. And so I
Oof.
think often when my daughter is feeling negative towards me, it's a little bit of internalized shame or a high sensitivity to me shaming her. And it's a lot like
Yeah.
having somebody who's allergic to smoke. You got to put the cigarettes away because shaming her will never um,
Uh,
change anything. And so I have to really watch. But I do think that the spicy one sometimes sees shame where it isn't. This last week, I would say, Dad,
yes.
why do you act like I'm the problem? And he was like, What are you talking about? So there's a there's a real
Oof.
ease with combat. I am ready to and I enjoy it, and there's a dopamine hit in having a little bit of a
Mm.
conflict, and there's some novelty in it. So all that comes together to be a personality that can be really exhausting for some people to deal with.
It's really exhausting. It's exhausting if you're I'm exhausted with me. So, I think yes, the spicy one, you write, test all limits. Gentle parenting doesn't work on this kid, as you have already said. And so the shaming piece, I've written a lot about it. I had a shaming mother. I have tried really hard not to be shaming. Feels a little easier with the grands. There's that
Well, and here's an
bye-bye.
unpopular take. Yeah. Yes, for because you aren't responsible
I'm not
for their
responsible.
trajectory.
No.
And I like to say you can be a very good mom with a very disobedient child. And I think that's
Mhm.
a revolutionary idea for folks
It is.
raised with I am only as good a mom as my child is successful
Yes,
or
ma'am.
does what I want. And so there's this inherent belief that you need to control them to be a good leader. And that's not true. But I
Hmm.
also think daughters are harder to not shame. And there's a different dynamic. My son's going to have a lot more kind of mercy and grace. And he's also his self-concept is not as like hooked in like Velcro with mine. And
Yes.
I don't want to sound too woo-woo, but we all have a lot of internalized misogyny where we're
Hmm.
like, don't be so big, daughter, because if you are too
Hmm.
big,
Hmm.
bad things happen to girls that stand up, yeah. And
Especially
so
within a certain culture, and I'm naming it the church culture, the patriarchal church
yes.
culture, the evangelical, which is
I'm
what I
falling
was
in love
in.
with you,
I
Janelle.
love you because that's what I raised my kids in. So it's
Right.
like I have had to apologize. I have had to say, I'm so sorry. We did really do think we did the best we could, but now we will reform and we will change. But yes, I think you are just so right on, and that's why I said to you, I'm a suppressed spicy one. And I know that I know my heart said, not anymore, girl. Mm-mm. No, I'm going to arrest the situation. I'm going to stop you dead in your tracks and put your heart out of rhythm so you and I can have a conversation about how you're going to live the rest of your life.
Yeah, when
No
you're
more.
swallowing, when you're swallowing parts of yourself
Mhm.
and accommodating,
Mm,
it makes your body sick for sure. And it distances you from the people you're in relationship with when you're like, well, they can't handle this part of me. And so I do think there, as you look out at the landscape of all the 50 plus women whose kids are leaving, everybody's having to renegotiate what does relationship look like? Because
yes.
one, my estrogen is gone, so I'm not going to put up with this. The feel good part of me.
Right.
And then two, I don't have to make nice because the kids are gone now, and I'm not trying to create this culture they want to come back to. And so there's a
Ooh,
lot of like
oh,
upheaval.
time out, Mary.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not trying to create a culture they want to come back to. Is that what you just said?
Well, that was a big part of raising them
What?
was like I want a safe landing space that they can't wait to come back to. But when they're off and gone, now it's between my partner and I.
Oh,
And is this a relationship I want to be in? And the only way to want to be in it is to be able to be your full self. So I'm just aware of so many couples renegotiating what that looks like.
mm. Is that your next
And
book, please? Please and thank you.
I do
Okay.
think there's a to being linked or living with an adult spicy one. God bless my husband.
Oh, yes. God bless mine as well. Okay. So we're only on page 13. Now let me move to 14 and 15. Thank you for allowing me to delve into the disdain part. I don't know if really still understand, but maybe there's some other parts in the book that will help me. But thank you for also naming the shaming that we project, I think would be the right word, onto daughters, particularly, to not be too much. And so I might dig into that later on my own with my heart lifters because I think number one, projection is really precarious and it's a really difficult defense mechanism to discern. And so we don't really even know we're projecting, but
Oh, so many times I've had to say, am I hurting because of how my daughter's responding right now?
mhm,
Because of this present day scenario? Or is this feeling like the past with my own mother? And it is not
yes.
my daughter's um, baggage. She does not have to help heal me and
Mhm,
my sense of self as it relates to my own, difficult mother.
mhm,
So, yes,
mhm. Mary, I knew this was going to be like this. That's so incredible because well, it's bringing out again the term enmeshment, right? It's bringing
mhm.
out not being able to know where I end and my daughter begins and where my daughter begins and I end, which was my scenario with my mother. So you can only mother how you maybe have seen to mother unless you are a student of mothering, which I have been. I've been a student to be better, to be not like that. But I think that it's very difficult for a lot of us older women to differentiate the differentiation, and to not take it personal. So to
Yes.
be able in that moment, like you, to have that real spiritual maturity and wisdom to go, this is really about me and my daughter, or,
The goal for me is to be so sturdy and grounded
mm,
that she gets an opportunity to reject me. Because I don't know about you, I never got to reject my mom.
never.
It was too explosive and precarious, as you say, and
Mm-hmm.
I was no angel,
Mm-hmm.
she told, as
As
we
she
learned
said.
earlier. But I have always wanted a tenderness and a relationship I wasn't able to get. So I'm always sort of searching for that. And
Mm-hmm.
then here I am with a daughter who also want this with. And yet my journey here is very different. I have to be okay when she's not okay. And I have to
Oh,
be okay when she says, "Ew, what are you doing?" Or
yeah.
why do you look like that?" Or why are that
Yeah.
has to be like water down a duck's. That's
Yeah.
her own journey. I can't take it personally and get
Hmm.
caught up in it and treat her as if she were an equal or a friend. There's a power dynamic here. I am her
There's,
mother.
hmm
And when
I
I
want,
say that, I don't mean I am her mother and I shall
yes, I
be
know.
respected, which
Right.
is that old school way.
Yeah.
I mean, I am her mother. I play a role no other human on the earth can play for
Yes.
her. And I believe that's a role of delighting in her and
Mm.
cheering her on and feeling an unconditional high positive regard for her, which sometimes will take personal work on my part because she's
Yes.
not being super
She might be a pain in the
personally
ass.
regarded.
Yes. Well, you're differentiating. I mean, that's what you're doing. And you're just putting all of the mature work into place of not being enmeshed and not taking it personal. But the biggest thing you said, which I have right here, page 15, you must be okay when they are not. I think I just say, I don't know any, I know a few women, maybe one or two, that really are okay when their children are not okay. You know, they have such a sense of a secure attachment. It's just all about attachment, right? So if you could read my journals for the last 5 years, it's like, I am okay even if no one else in my life is okay. I am okay even if no one else
Mm.
in my life is okay. So you encourage on page 14, come have a time in with me. I just love your book. I love the way that you talk as an author. I love your voice. I love that I feel that I am sitting next to you. Thank you. That is not easy to accomplish. So, you write, I've successfully led thousands of moms of spicy ones, most so through the concepts laid out in this book. The Moso approach prevails because we are recognizing this for what it is, a heroine's journey. The quest to parent someone you cannot control, that is it, demands archetypal spirituality. Regardless of your faith, religion, or full frontal atheism, you wrote that in this book by Baker Books. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. Know that raising this kid with your well being intact will plunge you into a spiritual quest. You are entering a set apart community of parents who have been called against their will to stay safe and tender when their child is neither. You are the reluctant hero, Moses, Buddha, Moana, who spends the first part of her spiritual journey trying to opt out of it. I'm going to watch Moana. I never have. And here is the paragraph. I'm defining spirituality as the lived capacity to be in a deep, dynamic awareness with a deeper presence or spirit of life. Brilliant. My approach does not require you to believe in God, but it does invite you to choose some higher power to help you make meaning from this unmarked journey. Like the recovery groups meeting in basements across the world, you need something bigger than yourself to hold onto during the roller coaster ride. I just, to look at parenting through a spiritual lens, you must try on the idea that your child is not your challenge. They are your curriculum, and this book is your syllabus. This is a big old opportunity to heal your own stuff through the process of parenting your Spitfire. Oh my gosh. Do tell. Like, how has this affected your spirituality, your journey? Mm,
It definitely when you I mean, it's a lot like an addiction journey
mm-hmm,
because the
mm-hmm.
part of you that wants to control your child, be they 2 years old or
30.
42,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, wants to feel safe and in control. And when you come to the end of your own capacity, your
mm-hmm.
hands have to open up and you have to say, you know what, God, you're in charge of this child.
Yeah.
I and I've really struggled to help. Occasionally I'll get someone who'll come through my course and be like, I'm atheist and I don't believe I'm not a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me? And it's like, well, Sure, I'm sure a lot of the tactical stuff will work, like how to connect and the two
Mm.
by two and the
All the
anthropologist. I've got a bunch of tips and
You do.
techniques,
We're going to get to them.
but I think that someone with the spicy one who decides to plunge into the waters of why is this so hard? What
Yes.
old part of me am I holding on to, or what old coping skill, or what
Hmm.
false belief is hemming me into a struggle that doesn't have to be a struggle. I
Mm.
mean, and it's not like, oh, I've arrived, just like any kind of spiritual journey. It's an
Never.
everyday, it's like, oh, the phone's ringing. There she is. Okay, let me soften my belly. Let me
Ooh.
let my shoulders go down. Let me not decide that a successful conversation means, I don't know, I shared what I did today and felt seen and heard. That's not who this person is in my life. This is somebody I have been assigned to nurture and show up for.
Mm.
And I want to say this, I have a bunch of boundaries. Do not think that I'm a permissive, like, oh, well, she ran over me and my leg is broken. Come
Yeah.
back soon. I'm not the giving tree. I hated that book.
Bet
Um,
you did.
as a spicy one. But I do I my spiritual journey has been more of noticing in my body when I am clenched and tight and ready for some kind of battle,
Hmm.
which in some ways creates the battle.
That's
And
correct.
like with that thing you're talking about, projection, yes. And
Yes.
there's an embodiment
Hmm.
of like being unaware from the neck down what's going on,
Yes.
so that we are sending clues to this other mammal, this child who's a rascal and always ready for conflict. If we're sending a non-safe kind of predator or prey vibe to them, we're going to
Hmm.
get back a lot more drama. And so softening everything,
Hmm.
noticing if my hands are balled up or they're open, being kind to myself. That is what this mothering journey has done, is it's forced me
Mm.
to be kind to myself in order to be kind to her, because you can't leapfrog over. And maybe
Right.
you can speak to that as a therapist, because
Hmm.
that gets people real upset, like, you know what, I'm doing all this work and no, I can't, I don't like who I am and I can't show up for me, but don't tell me I'm not showing up well for my child. And I
Hmm.
trying to like untangle that. Do you have
Well,
any
it's
thoughts on that?
it's detaching in a healthy way. I mean, there's healthy detachment. So
Yes.
that's the only methodology that you can adhere to, because all I teach is about secure attachment. But then halfway through my years of listening to people and family systems, it's like, no, there's a healthy detachment. It's boils down to what you said, Mary. I'm okay if they're not okay. And I think that is the life journey that I will not accomplish. Oh, maybe I will. I have glimmers and moments of I'm okay if they're not okay. And
Mm.
now it's I'm okay if my grandchild's not okay. It is a generational pattern for sure. And so I feel like more the journey is more about I love myself and God loves me. And because what I've looked for in my relationship with my children is for them to love me and like me and affirm me. And I'm filling my identity and my love capacity from their facial expressions or not getting a card on Mother's Day or all the offenses. I mean, there's just many, many offenses, right?
You
And
could find,
maybe
yes, if you were looking
if you're
for
looking,
looking for that. Yeah. Hmm.
if my unhealthy person inside of me, my unhealthy being, will just continue to be offended. They haven't called in a week. They haven't called in 2 weeks. I mean, I hear it from women. And I'm like, when are you going to be okay when they're not okay or when they're not like fawning's the term.
Mm.
It's the new beautiful Dr. Ingrid Clayton's book, Fawning. I just people please, And so I think what you're saying is, in a nutshell, who in the hell, excuse my, we just already said one bad word, so, but who the heck am I without basing my identity on mothering?
Mm.
or wifery or churchgoer or friend or whatever. I mean, that's just my journey. And I'm starting to really like myself and love
Mm.
me. And it's happening where you can have a healthy detachment. You know,
Yeah.
if I do this or that and they don't like it, it's better for me. So, getting back,
Wait, what do you mean by that? It's better for you.
I can hold that like you just said, you're raising a child who can reject you. Now, that is not something you hear on the Today Show. I'm sorry, but I am hoping you are going to say that in a larger sphere of influence.
Mm.
Because what does that mean? To me, that means I have an innate sense of self that's healthy, grounded, rooted, and able to take it because they're not rejecting me.
Yes, and you're a heck of a lot easier to be with if you're a person that is rejectable. And an
Yeah.
example will be that we had a couple years when my mom would leave these long messages. It sure would be great if you'd call me.
There
I
it
guess you
is.
don't care about your mother, and
There it
a
is.
good daughter does this. And the more she would leave those messages, the more I would cringe and think, oh, I don't want to deal with that phone call when I finally do.
I
So I
know.
would procrastinate and put it off, and something switched. I don't know. That's her journey. And now she just leaves a message and says, ooh, I want to hear about what's going on with this. And here's what happened for me. Call me when you get a second. And there's not this feeling that I've already disappointed her or that she won't be okay if I don't call. And it makes me call her. I mean, this may be kind of like
Yes.
a gamey conversation, but
No,
that's
but
just
what
one
happened?
example.
What
Yeah.
changed her? Do you know? Because you didn't confront her. You didn't. I felt like I was
We did have one
okay.
confrontation. We did.
Okay.
I said to her, um, I haven't called you because I've been down about something. And if I'm honest, Mom, it doesn't feel good to call you when I'm down.
Oh,
And we talked about why that was and what makes me feel good if I'm talking to somebody and I'm in a tender place. And some of it was just good old Southern.
uh-huh.
She's got some phrases that she says, like, well, that's neither here nor there. And she will say that right after you have shared your heart.
Exactly.
And she
It's
doesn't mean
gonna be all
anything
right.
by it.
Bless your heart, honey.
Yes. So we talked through some of that. But
Oh, that's beautiful.
yeah, and this thing about being okay when they're not, it comes up in marriage as well.
All the time.
Because
42
if
years.
I'm yeah, and and again, you don't arrive at it. You rededicate yourself every day. So if I
Yes.
come downstairs and I can tell he's pissy, the
Hmm.
old me is like, oh gosh, he's not okay. I got to get him okay so my life's better. I got to find out what this guy needs. I got to go in and do that fawning that you're talking about.
Hmm.
But when I can say, he gets to have a bad day because most of his days are great. And I can trust that secure attachment. He'll come back and I can be okay. What also happens there is there's a more healthy negotiation about what your life's going to look like. Because if all they have to do is be in a bad mood or be upset with you and you got to make it right, then you're going to do that thing you talked about of suppressing what you really
Yes,
want.
that's correct. And that doesn't end well for anyone. You write on page 63 and you talk about the good enough mom club, the good enough mom, the good mom club. And right there you say you can't make someone else happy. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about this in light of longevity. I feel like that's what my conversation with you is really why it's so important. It's about longevity, the long haul of mothering. And it starts from conception on, in my humble opinion, that I cannot make anyone else happy. And I guess I just want you to speak a little bit. I had a very wise friend. She's an incredible licensed social worker, and she is a very strong woman. If you know anything about the Enneagram, she's an Enneagram 8.
Mm.
And she looked at me before I went on a trip to see one of the kids, and she said, we were having dinner and it was beautiful. She just leaned in and she said, I mean, what if you're just good enough? What if you're just a good enough mom? And everything in me just just was like, that's so repulsive. Like,
Mm.
I couldn't swallow it. And so I wrote on the plane. I journaled it the whole time I was away, and I was just wrestling with being a good enough mom. What does that mean? And I have to stand before God, and He's gonna go, "Well done, you good enough mom, you." You know? And so when you were talking about, your mom leaving that message, you disembody just to get a little therapeutic in those moments with a relationship where someone's shaming you. That's you disembody. Your skin, my skin would crawl. You're like, I don't want anything. I don't want to have that conversation. So what a transformation you allowed us to hear. Thank you for that. About just saying, when I'm down, I don't feel safe calling you. I just don't, you're not who I want to call. And then she responded, thankfully, in a beautiful way. And so we disembody a lot of times when we don't feel safe with someone. I just didn't want to pass by that. We want to be an embodied mother, an embodied human being, an embodied wife, an embodied human. And that's, I think, where we have to understand healthy detachment. We have to understand being a good enough mom. So, will you just address a little bit more, Mary, about this "Are you a good enough mom" chapter?
Mm.
Because it could have been a whole book.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say a lot of people say I am, as long as I'm doing the best I can. And I like to say, that sounds exhausting. Every
It
day to be
is.
doing the best you can. How about some days like I phoned it in and that can be okay? Like we are, especially women, we're cyclical creatures. You know, day 28 through 30, we don't want to be doing the best we can. We want to be resting and
Hmm.
recharging. So I do want to say that. But when we talk about a good enough mom, we're all coming with these job descriptions that we haven't put on paper. They're just floating around in our brain like a good mom has a happy child, a good mom has a well-behaved child, a good
Yes.
mom has a child who makes it on the sports team, a good mom
Hmm.
doesn't fight with her child in the morning. And it's what we thought was just like wisdom is really our inner critic, just doing
Hmm.
a running ticker tape of not good enough. Let me show you why, not good enough.
Hmm.
And we all have this negativity bias where
We do.
we're scanning the environment for what would make me not safe, what would make me not good enough. And we
Hmm.
have to kind of override that through both prayer and some positive mindset work. And
Hmm.
so the first thing I tell people is I need you to write down, what does a good mom do for this child in this situation?
Yeah.
And they will write out, 18 sentences, and I'll say, there's no way one woman could do this. So could we walk it back? And at the end of the day, would you feel good if you did what? And generally, it's not, and it often a good mom description will start with how the child will show up. And so we got to go back from that. Like, well, you don't have any control over that. You have
No.
control over the environment you're creating, what's going on inside you, and what resources you're pulling from. So stepping back and writing out, like in one sentence, I will believe I am a good mom when, or
Mm.
a good mom of this child does. And often it's count, we can get really granular, counts from 30 down rather than responding immediately.
Beautiful.
Slow customer service, all those things that when we can increase that time between the thing they did that upset us and our reaction, we become a good enough mom or a good
Yes.
mom because we now can choose from our sentient prefrontal cortex what we want
Yeah.
to do next. So make your definition of a good mom very visible. Write it out. Talk to somebody about it. Say why
Love
that
it.
part is important to you.
Hmm.
Allow somebody to push back if you are naming things that are outside of your actual control as the
Hmm.
definition of a good mom.
The problem is we think we're in control, right? I mean,
Yes.
we think, at least moms of adult children now go, I really used to think I was in control, and I still want that facade of control, but we're never in control. The only thing we're in control of, you're saying, is our mindsets, our thought behaviors, I am only in charge of me.
Yeah, well, and actually, let's play with those words. I think
Okay.
you're in charge of your children because
Okay,
you're the
yes.
leader of the home,
Correct.
but you are not in control of them because they're
Okay.
not remote control robots, right?
Hmm.
So you're in charge of being the leader and deciding how we're going to talk to each other in this home and what the limits are and what we're going to do for the day. But the
Yeah.
beauty of having a spicy one is you learn very quickly what you do have no control over. And then teenagehood becomes a lot easier once you've
Yeah.
come to terms with it because every teenager is a spicy one because they're all individuating and saying, I don't like
Yes.
that about you because it reminds me of the parts of me I don't like, you know?
Hmm. Yes. Well, I will say when I began really studying your book, I couldn't help but think of the book that was the anthem book or the book was Dobson, right? James Dobson, Strong-Willed Child. Yeah, I wanted to see your face.
I made a face,
Well, you did.
guys.
I
I
know.
hope this
Well,
is the anti
I think it
James
is.
Dobson
I
because you don't
wanted to
need to
give you
break
that.
this child's will. You don't need to, and also get rid of the shepherd's heart or shepherding
Yes,
a heart.
that was it too, for
There
sure.
there's a false bill of responsibility that's been given to us
Hmm.
that's a little bit of spiritual trauma because if you think, well,
No, it
I'm a
is.
good Christian,
Yes.
God will be proud of me if I'm a
Hmm.
good mom and a good mom has well-behaved children, then
Hmm.
there's a domino effect of feeling like I've disappointed God.
Hmm.
And you can have a drug addict murdering child and you haven't disobeyed or you haven't disappointed God because it's like you plant these seeds and you make sure that the garden is well tilled
Hmm.
and you add fertilizer, but sometimes what comes out is a bush even though you planted vegetables and
Yes.
you
Yes.
got to let go of some of the outcomes and do the work.
Mm.
And that again is where it feels like almost like an addiction journey is like
I
what do
think
you
you're
want?
right. No, no, no. I think that's um, overcoming fawning to me has been very similar to overcoming
And tell me
addictions.
about that because I do not have any people pleasing in me. Um
That
and
must be
so
just amazing. It
but I feel
just,
like I'm here to help the people pleaser find
mom.
their inner spicy one, right?
No, I
Um,
think that's exactly what that is so good. Maybe that's why this book is just resonating so deeply with me because, the suppression of a spicy one is now finding her voice. And, so much of what I do is that. So I do want to get to, I'm really looking at the time, Mary, and want to honor you. But there's just so much here. So getting back to thinking we're in control, I see so many remnants. I mean, I was raised on shepherding a child's heart. I was, and I was raised on Dobson's, strong-willed child. It's the remnants are still there. I see them in my husband, and I see them as we grandparent. So you're here to help us as well
mhm.
to really understand a wider picture of raising spiritual, beautiful children, and now grandchildren. So, how do you tell the difference then? Or how do you, the question I've written down, I'm just going to read it. How do you discern a brat, just an out and out bratty child? Or is that even such a thing?
I
From
think
a
I could.
spicy one? Oh, well, they need a good like spanking. And I've already read you don't, and I would never spank my kids today if I raised them again, ever. It was, hold on. Where did you write this, Mary? Just hold, if you can hold your thought 1 second. Oh my gosh. It came off of your media kit. Oh, yes. This heart lifter, lean in. This is the lean in moment. Welcome to Parenting a Spicy One. A child more loyal to their own soul than to your agenda. Because I confess that that is how women my age in the evangelical world were taught to raise their children to conform to our parental agenda, to a Christian school's agenda, to a church that sentence, where on God's green earth were you when you wrote it? And wow, help me understand that.
I'm just on a I'm on a mission to reframe. You said, you're a word detective,
Hmm.
to reframe the way we describe this being, this child,
Yes.
this inner child or this child in front of us, because the words we use unlock compassion and connection versus put, a big block between that. And
Hmm.
we're on a journey to learn how to be unconditionally loving. And that's
Yes.
our job. Our job is not to make sure they get in a good college. It's not even to teach them basic skills like, I mean, it's great if they'll make their bed and you're a really structured person and can, because so often with a spicy one, it's you being consistent and them realizing, wow, this friggin' happens every day. I guess this is something we're doing. But if you are ADHD and you're like, come on, we got to do this, and then you forget about it, they're not going to keep doing it. They're going to
No.
need that structure and that belief. And you don't have to teach them all these things. They can learn them. If you can learn it on YouTube, it's not your main priority. But they
Right.
can never find somebody else who will delight in them and who will do the work to find the brilliance in how they already are.
I
So
love
many
that.
people will be like, if you can just do this, then you'll be okay. Let them be okay in your sight now. And part of that is realizing that they have more loyalty to their own soul and all of the beautiful creators and artists and
Mm,
world changers and activists who speak for the oppressed were all spicy ones
they were.
who believed, no, I have an inherent word in my soul that I must speak. And we don't want to get in the way of that. Yes, we want them to brush their teeth and we want to be on time to school, but we can do that in a way that is delighting in who they are. I don't think there are any brats. I think there are children who adults have given up on, or there
Hmm.
are dysregulated adults, and the child
Yes.
is sort of pinging off that. Because I've had the blessing of doing a little bit of respite care, where you care for
Mm.
someone's child while they are on the brink of homelessness. And
Wow, Mary.
these kids would come in and they have had no structure
None.
and no nobody who can be present for them because they're in the specter of poverty. And when you're dealing with that,
Mm.
that's all the um ace and trauma situations you're going to
Yes.
deal with, right? And all that child needs is a loving adult who can slow down, be in touch with themselves, and fully present and delighting in them. And there's just nobody else who's going to do it. So what's hard is, as a grandparent, you're watching how your child is parenting,
Hmm.
and it can feel like, oh man, I got to get in there and help them because they're being so ineffectual and they're creating a brat. And so let's decide, no, what is your like mission from God? What is
Hmm.
your responsibility here? It is to be a support to your child and to echo back what is beautiful about their parenting, and to
Yes.
be an unconditional. And it's the whole, like, you're going to get more flies with sugar or honey kind of thing too. Like,
Yeah.
the spicy one is the child that is going to go no contact, or
Mm.
what was the word you used, become estranged.
Yes.
So we really have to do the mental work to remember what we appreciate about them. And I wrote this book for people who are like, I love them, but I don't have to like them, because a lot of us have been there.
You write
And yeah,
that clearly. Hmm.
you do have to like them, and
You
it's going
do.
to take some work. You're
Hmm.
going to become a detective for good. You're going to
Hmm.
lay down at the end of the night, and instead of being like, ugh, what went wrong? Let me go through what I could have done better, which
Hmm.
is the people pleasers,
Hmm.
manifesto. Instead, you're going to lay down and say, God, show me where there was love today. Show me
Yes.
just moments of where I was giving, receiving, or participating in love, and
Hmm.
begin to look at those moments as the success.
Yes. Heartlifter, I'm going to pause here. I really wanted to give you the full, complete Mary Van Geffen interview, but I am going to break it up into two parts. I feel like I want to take these moments at the close of this extended conversation to open up chapter 16 from Mary's book, Parenting a Spicy One. We didn't get the opportunity to dig into this chapter, so I invite you to get Mary's book. I think it is an emotional health companion, a mental health companion for everyone mothering at any age, at any stage. In chapter 16, welcome everyone's big feelings by honoring the body. Mary actually gives us somatic healing practices and principles when parenting a spicy one, but as I like to say, when just navigating life. She starts, we've spent many pages shifting your perspective, beliefs, and imagery. But what about shifting how you show up in your body to adapt to the intensity? How to harness your physical power to stay calm amid the chaos. Your body can sense things unspoken through nonverbal cues, auditory tone changes, and pressure changes on your skin. For better or worse, your senses are heightened in the presence of someone with ferociously big feelings. Lean in here. Here is the Heart Lifter way. Mary is giving us so much help in chapter 16. This alone can help you move through your life from a gentler way. She continues, a safe body primes a brain to respond with more compassion and creativity. Like, hey, let's try whisper talking to this shouting child. And then she gives us some beautiful somatic practices to embody the type of mother and the type of parent, I'm adding the type of person you want to be from this moment on in life. She encourages us to move, as do I, to metabolize your body through movement. The opposite of movement is immobilization. That keeps the body in a state of inescapable shock and learned helplessness. Faced with danger, people automatically secrete stress hormones to fuel resistance and escape. Brain and body are programmed to run for home where safety can be restored and stress hormones can come to rest. We want to have that mind-body connection. She says to allow controlled destruction. She explains that as the planned, safe breaking or smashing of objects to help both kids and adults physically release big emotions from their bodies. And think about all of our conversations on today's Heart Lift with Janelle in the past, right? On trauma being emotions that are too big for our body to handle. So she writes, think cracking ice blocks with a hammer, tearing up old magazines, or doing wall push-ups until your arms shake. It helps kids work the tension and anger out of their bodies and connects them with their playful, non-judgmental adult willing to break stuff alongside them. Controlled destruction can be a helpful activity for an emotionally dysregulated child or their had it up to here adult. A child overcome with big feelings needs a physical outlet to move the intensity out of their body, and so does a mommy. Tears are one universal way. Door slamming is another. Oh, I am so guilty of doing that. Different methods will be acceptable in different homes. When you were upset as a child, what was allowed in your family? What is allowed now in your house when your child has energy, high, angry energy to work through? Sometimes a warm, soapy bath isn't violent enough. Self-expressions, safe expressions of anger are necessary and different for every unique nervous system. Powerful emotions need to be metabolized through movement in order to process and move them out of the body. We must give motion to emotion. Oh my goodness, so good. Destroying something together is a creative act of collaboration that lets your intense child feel seen and supported rather than wrong yet again. You're just going to have to read more, because I know if you are in the schools that I have been in, that was not what we were taught. She encourages to monitor the body budget. We each respond to the world in our own way depending on countless factors, including how to take in information through our senses, all our past experiences, and the status of what Mona Delahook calls our body budget. Your best parenting decisions are based on taking into account your child's body and how it processes and experiences the world. Your child's brain is constantly and reflexively scanning their body's resources to see if they are in balance. Below consciousness, your child's nervous system is monitoring and assessing the stability of their body budget. Wow. Oh, when your child's body budget is depleted, for example, sleeping poorly last night combined with getting in trouble at school and then not eating their lunch, well, that's their body budget. The brain reflexively reacts with threat response behavior. Some of that reaction can look like disobedience. I'll add here that this smartwatch that I'm wearing that actually initiated my going to a doctor because my heart rate was 140 to 160 for 3 days. It also tells me when my body is drained. To me, that's the same thing. My body has an energy budget. So when we understand that, we know that we have some days where our body budget is gone by noon. But then some days are calmer days, like the day I'm having today. So my energy is much, much better. She talks us to vocalize, which we do a lot of here, learning how to use our voice. We say, use your words, speak in a strong voice. And then, let's see, breathe, notice the clench, slow down, surf your feelings. I really love this idea of surfing your feelings. She breaks it up into surrender, unfold, recede, and find the name. You can read more about that on page 222 and 223. And with Mary's permission, I will put that over on Substack on Heartlift Wellness. We have gone long, but this is critical information, not only for parents of a spicy one, but for all of us to know how to take care of our bodies, to give ourselves gentleness and compassion. Hopefully, this conversation today has felt like a deep breath. I'm thankful to Mary in part 1 for reminding us that parenting isn't about controlling our children into compliance, but about learning how to stay connected, grounded, and compassionate in the midst of very, very real life. And if this conversation has resonated with you, I hope you'll share this episode with another mother, no matter what stage of mothering she's in, who may need encouragement today. You are not failing because your child is strong-willed. You are being invited into a different kind of parenting, one that is rooted in connection, presence, and grace. For more helpful resources and all of Mary's contact information, just go to @theheartlifterway. Remember, this is the gentle path. This is the Heartlifter way.